life.
The People's Platform.
Good evening and welcome to the People's Platform. I'm your host Niresh Eliathambi. We have with us tonight a person who is no stranger to this program, Chalaka Gajabahu, Chairman of the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau. Welcome, Chalaka.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you as well.
You come with glad tidings of 4 months of consecutive over 200,000 visitors to Sri Lanka. Is that something to celebrate, or is there much more to be done?
Yes, I can give that answer in two ways. One is, yes, it's time to celebrate because this is happening after almost 5 years, four and a half years. You know, of course, we had an amazing year in 2018. Then, you know, we had the Easter incident in 2019, then COVID, then the economic crisis. With all this, when we took over in June, it was a black mark all over the world on Sri Lanka because negative media, that is, you know, with the revolution that happened in Sri Lanka, you know, and the little tourists that were here also wanting to leave the country because of the issues we had, the shortage of fuel and medicine and food and all that.
Of course.
So then, you know, we had to find petrol to drop or fuel to drop them off at the airport. But within a matter of 6 to 9 months, we made it possible to make 2023 as the comeback year for Sri Lanka tourism in a very short period of time. And I always say we are not bringing goods to the country, we are bringing people. And bringing people with a negative mindset is not easy. So to turn that around and almost achieving 1.5 million last year was an amazing target. Now, like you very correctly said, back-to-back 4 double hundreds, it's a good start. But it is only the start. It's baby steps. It's a long journey to go, and we need to work even more harder to go for the next 5 years.
Now, Chalaka, we have elections coming up this year. Perhaps one election, perhaps two. It's still up in the air. But usually with elections, we have a level of uncertainty and violence, hopefully not violence this time, but we inevitably get these travel advisories from foreign governments. Are you a little nervous about that?
Well, I must say, you know, we have thought about it, but then the elections, according to the commission, it is supposed to be in September, October. Like what we expect is anyway from October, the tourism arrivals even increase much more. But let's hope, because I can't predict politically what will happen in this country. So, you know, we are hoping for a peaceful election this year, because I hope people will understand tourism is the second biggest forex earner for the country. That actually helps the country's economy in a big positive way. So I hope the people will understand, and especially who is into politics, that, you know, we need to have a peaceful election this year. I can't make any predictions again. I'm not into politics.
Of course. Now, looking at the numbers, yes, we've had some big numbers, but comparatively, can you place it? How well have we done looking at our past performance before the COVID years, perhaps, and also how are we doing in comparison to other tourism destinations in Asia?
Okay, to come back, statistically 2018 was our best year for tourism, where we had 2.3 million plus tourists coming into Sri Lanka. Like I said at the beginning, unfortunately Easter happened, COVID, then the economic crisis. In comparatively, if you look at our competing markets, yes, all of them went through the COVID pandemic crisis, but they did not go through an economic crisis where it was, you know, a black mark in the country media-wise. You know, people, the travel advisories went up and all that. So coming back, comparatively, the comeback that we have done is very good because, like I said, you can't compare Sri Lanka versus a Maldives or a Malaysia or a Thailand or a Vietnam, because soon after COVID they did not go through an economic crisis. So the comeback is very good, and our target for this year very clearly is 2.3 million, a lower target of 2.3 million, which is our achievement in 2018, and we have a higher target of 2.5 million, the best year in tourism in the history of Sri Lanka. Lanka. So that's going to be an amazing achievement. To make a comeback like this after 4 years is going to be an amazing achievement. To come back to where we were in 2018 or even go further than that.
Now, Chalaka, it's all very well to get numbers of tourists. However, it's just not about the number of tourists, but about how much they spend, isn't it? Because if we end up with 20 million tourists one day, we would, I presume, much prefer to have fewer tourists who spend a lot more than a large number who would strain our resources.
100% correct, because it's not about the number, quantity, it's a quality as well. Definitely we do not want to go for a target of 20 million even, because Sri Lanka is not artificial. We are not an artificial tourist destination. We are a natural tourist destination. I always say we are an all-in-one capsule minus a snow, because we have all the categories. But sustainability matters a lot as well. Our infrastructure has to be developed in such a way that it goes according to certain standards of sustainability as well. So going with that, that's why we have developed a master plan for 5 years. If you compare ourselves against, let's say, our next door neighbor Maldives, their annual minimum per tourist per head per day is $500 plus, whereas in Sri Lanka is about $160 to $180.
Oh dear, that's much less.
That's much less, but that's been the case in the past as well. So that's why, along with the Honorable Minister, along with our other two associations, Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, Conventions Bureau and Slidama Hotel School together have developed a master plan for tourism for the next 5 years to take that forward. So we want to achieve that number. Our target for 2028, 2029 is 4 million to 5 million. And within that, we want to bridge that gap of $180 to $500. Like I said, it won't happen overnight. We need that clear, yes, not that I'm saying that we don't want the backpackers for the homestayers. Yes, we need all of them, because don't forget, the backpackers will be the future CEOs, the future doctors, the future innovators of the world. So we need all categories together, because they might spend $10 right now. In about 10 years time, they'll be spending $1,000 per day. So that's very important. So we need to strategically develop the market, and for that already the master plan is developed. Whether we are in office in 5 months time or not, the master plan hope won't be able to change. So that master plan is in progress right now.
So the spending per tourist per day, you're hoping to have quite a steep increase
within 5 years,
right?
By 2028, 2029. Yeah,
okay,
that's the plan.
What about the infrastructure that's required for these tourists? The number of hotels, hotel rooms, and so on?
Of course, we need, because the thing is, if you cross anything between 2.5 million to 3 million, our infrastructure will not be able to sustain it for a long period of time. So that's why if you look at new developments are coming through, for example, ITC is going to open. The ITC has gone out of India for the first time in the history. They are in Sri Lanka, as you know. Sheraton open, Intercontinental is opening, and I heard few more Hilton properties are coming up, and they are small, and then at the same time small projects are coming in as well. A lot of villas, a lot of bungalows, small investments, but for the high-end tourism, all that is coming through, and there's a massive drive in terms of economic development, infrastructure development happening through the tourist board and the ministry, and along with the minister as well. There is a clear plan for investment opportunities. For example, when we go on our road shows and travel fairs, investment is another key subcategory subject that we go and promote all over the world. We just came back from a very successful road show in Australia. For the first time, we had a national tourism event in 3 cities, which is Brisbane, Sydney, and we ended up in Melbourne, which was very successful. About 30 Sri Lankan companies took part in this road show. It was mainly B2B, business to business, not business to consumer, business to business. And then at the end, myself, my honorable minister, we made presentations. Of course, the beauty of the country and the opportunities we have, and at the same time, investment opportunities as well.
What about the homestay market? And the reason I ask this is that right now Sri Lankans are hard pressed to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And the ability to rent out a room perhaps would be glad tidings if there are a lot more such backpackers and homestay tourists coming in.
Yeah. It's very important again, which this project is driven by Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, where we go and certify those homestays. Actually, it's now going as a good, decent business because we are bringing influencer marketing as well for homestays. For example,
Right.
3 months ago, we got this Japanese set of Japanese university students.
Okay.
University students, I'm talking from Japan, about 25 of them, they did like a tour of homestays. They were in plantations, they were in, villages where do cultivation, SMEs, projects they took part. They kind of took part in their projects as well. So it was a very success. So we are going to continue to do so with other countries, promoting homestays, which is an important segment. But the thing is, we need to have, even if it's a homestay, they need to have the right conditions. I'm not saying it's not going to be a 5-star, but that, real Sri Lankan warmth, the cleanliness has to be there in their homestays as well.
Now, Chalaka, there are certain sub-areas of tourism where we seem to be rather weak. For example, entertainment, MICE tourism, that's meetings, incentives, conventions, exhibitions. We don't have the convention facilities as of yet. I think our best convention center is probably the BMICH, which was built close to 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And then there's also the family element. You don't get a lot of families with kids coming to Sri Lanka because we don't have the theme parks that other countries like Singapore and Malaysia do. So what about that aspect? Are we missing out a lot on these subsections?
Yeah, you're talking about two segments. One is MICE tourism, other one is family entertainment. I'll start with MICE tourism, which is under Convention Bureau. Our chairman, Mr. Tisum Jayasurya, leads that project, and that's actually coming to a big involvement as well. To later stats, I'm not very sure. I think about 8 to 10% of revenue comes from MICE tourism right now, because the biggest market for the Convention Bureau is actually India. And now we are not only looking at India, we are doing programs in Bangladesh, and I think we are looking at Pakistan, and we are looking at countries like Germany, Australia as well, to get those important. Today, for example, I met a team from UK, that British Writers Guild Association, where they want to have their annual general conference next year in Sri Lanka, where 250 journalists are going to be in Sri Lanka. So that's itself is going to be just imagine having 250 British-based journalists coming in Sri Lanka, having their convention here. So those things are going to be very specifically looked at, and Convention Bureau has a master plan for that as well strategically. Maybe in a future program you can get him in and talk about that as well. And when it comes to entertainment, yes, you specifically requested, the question was on family entertainment.
That's
yes,
right.
Sri Lanka does not have that many, a theme park per se. We don't have a Disneyland. For that matter, that's a massive investment, and for look at, things like that. But, as a family, we are going to show different categories, how as a family you can enjoy Sri Lanka. It's not only, going for a theme park, but, our wildlife, our culture, our food and all that. Yes, you have a valid point. That's something that we are looking at. But again, something like a theme park, I don't think we can look at that kind of international theme park. I don't think we can look at it in next year or so. But that will be in our plans going forward, because we need to work closely with the private sector as well for something like this.
And on that note, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
The People's Platform. Singharaja, Sri Lanka's precious world heritage.
ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ විදිහට අපි ගොඩද?
මේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති රාමුවත් මේකත් හිස් වූ රාමුවක්.
නායකෙක්ට පුළුවන් අවශ්‍යයි නම් සංවේදීත් වෙලා ඒ වෙලාවෙම තාර්කිකත් වෙන්න.
ජානමය හේතුත් බලපාන්න පුළුවන් ද සමහර වෙලාවට මානසික තත්ත්ව වෙනස් වෙන්න.
මානසික රෝගයක් 80%ක් ජානගතයි. 20%ක් එන්වයරන්මන්ට් එකේ ඉන්නේ.
නින්දේදිත් සිදුවෙන ශ්වසන අපහසුතාවන් පිළිබඳ අපිට වාර්තා වෙනවා. මේක ගොරවනකොට වැඩි වෙනවද?
නින්දේදී සිදුවන ශ්වසන අවහිරතාවය නැත්නම් මේක හඳුන්වනවා මේ obstructive sleep apnea කියන තත්ත්වය.
ජාතික මෙහෙවර සතියේ දිනවල උදෑසන 11ට. TV1 TV for life. Sri Lankans ready to welcome the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. New Year to dawn at 9:05 p.m. tomorrow. SJB ready for any debate. Nalin Bandara responds to the NPP. 80 tons of vegetables in Dambulla thrown away within 2 days. Vietnamese billionaire sentenced to death over fraud case. Historic agreement inked between the International Cricket Council and MTV Channel Private Limited. TV1 TV for life. The People's Platform.
Welcome back. You're watching the People's Platform, and our guest tonight is Chalaka Gajabahu. So, Chalaka, when it comes to the markets of tourism, we've seen a bit of a shift, haven't we? I mean, the traditional UK, France, Germany seems to have, I wouldn't say reduced, they have increased in numbers, but we have other countries, other target markets which have seen a massive increase. For example, Russia and China and of course India.
So that's across all over the world. If you look at it, like you very correctly said, not that UK, France and Germany has dropped. There's a sustainable level and it's going up as well because we are promoting, because don't forget Europe had a lot of travel advisories against us during, especially due to the economic crisis. I don't know whether you saw recently, UK is still looking at I know we have got it reduced to a certain extent, but it was on news recently, still UK is looking at very closely on us with their travel advisory at caution level. So it's there, but we are trying our best to get that down as well. But coming back, of course, India is our next door neighbor, and don't forget we are talking about 220, 230 million plus high and middle income markets.
Right.
So, they know what the first bike, how to get married, where to get married, what's a European car they have to go buy, where they want to go and spend holiday. So India being number one, there's nothing wrong. We are getting the revenue from them, whether it's entertainment, whether it's traveling, whether it's shopping. Countries like India, when they come to Sri Lanka, they do a lot of shopping and they do a lot of other things as well. So it's very important. And then the Russian market is very key. Not only in Sri Lanka, Russian market is big in Thailand, Indonesia, countries like Thailand, because their travel is limited as well, because there are a lot of charter flights coming into Sri Lanka. So yes, India and Russia are number 1 and 2. But then of course, very strong presence of 3, 4 and 5 is UK, Germany and France. And at the same time, don't forget, because of a lot of influencer marketing and a lot of other programs we have done, a country like Poland is number 7 right now. That is purely through influencer marketing that we have done. It has never happened before. Poland and Netherlands in the top 10. So you can't say that is the expats who are living. Because a country like Poland and Netherlands, we don't have a lot of expats. So it's actually genuine 100% tourists who are coming from countries like Poland. And so we have we are going into markets that we have not tapped as well properly. And we are looking at countries like South Korea and Japan on wellness, on religion, which is especially Buddhism. We are going to create the Buddhist trail for the first time. Of course, we have a Ramayana trail, but we don't have a proper Buddhist trail. So we will be looking at segmentation properly with the correct markets going forward.
Right. Now, let's get back to Poland, which you mentioned. Was that a country which was actually targeted heavily by our tourism promotion, or was it something that came out of the blue and sort of increased without our actually focusing on it?
No, we actually, especially with the crisis we worked on. A lot of the best was we came up with this influencer program called Seeing is Believing, because at the end of the day you need to come and actually experience what's happening in Sri Lanka, because still if you look at any leading news network in the world, still in the trailers they show what happened in Sri Lanka 2 years ago. I don't know in trailers, and I'm pretty sure those trailers are common across any network for that. I'm talking about international networks.
Right.
So we came up with this program called Seeing is Believing. I think last year we had over 300 influencers coming into Sri Lanka. And then we got a few celebrities, influencers from Poland, a country like Poland, where they went and actually where they stayed and all that, they put pictures up. Each post was about 60,000-70,000 views. And they want to stay in the same places those celebrities stayed.
I see.
And, even without influencing, there was this famous Spanish Premier League football player who came on his honeymoon in Sri Lanka. He put his post up on his own. That was not forced.
Right.
So these things work. We are bringing in a lot of, now for example, right now there are about 30 wellness travel influencers. This is a project done by us and European Union on wellness from Germany and France. Mm-hmm. So now we are going into category specific influencers as well, rather than just doing general. It can be adventure, it can be underwater. For example, we want to promote the 140 plus shipwrecks that we have all over the country. No one knows. That's high-end tourism.
Right.
So like you said, we can talk on for hours, because we have a proper 360-degree marketing strategy to go global. When I say global, we are not going to go all over the world. We don't have deep pockets like, a Saudi or a Dubai for that matter. Funds are limited. So our key 10 markets, for our marketing budgets key markets will be India, UK, France, Germany, then China, then Australia, Korea, Japan, Middle East 3 countries, Scandinavia. Those are our digital and PR budgets will be spent on these countries. And the other, not that we are going to forget Italy, Spain, Portugal. So we are going to do a lot of influencer marketing, trade marketing, B2B marketing with those countries as well. And it won't be done in such a way that, we are going to launch the campaign in one go and, go all over the world.
Right.
It has to be strategically positioned as well. Now, if you look at a media network, a key client would decide whether they want to put their 30-second ads on news or a teledrama or the what time. So we need to understand the European market, when to market it. Right. Then we need to understand how to market it to Australia. For example, Australia's winter is middle of the year. India is 365 days of the year. China is different. So we need to strategically point out, and we don't want to call ourselves there's not going to be an off season anymore.
That concept of the off season is slowly
it's not slowly. We actually our minister has banned us calling an off season, because he has this vision to make Sri Lanka a 365 destination, and we are as a marketeer, I'm 100% with it to take that concept forward in a very positive manner. So strategically we are in the right space. And the global campaign that we are coming out with, the Sri Lanka, you'll come back for more, which is done by a very, the tender was taken by a very reputable agency, which did the Incredible India campaign, the multinational network,
right.
Which is Ogilvy. So that's going very well, and that's the second stage. The main campaign will be launched towards the end of April, early May. So things are going pretty well.
So let's look at cruise tourism. Which traditionally Sri Lanka didn't have a lot of cruise ships coming in, despite the fact that we as a country, we are on the major shipping route, and that's something we learned in school. It's something you write for your O-levels. But we hardly ever had cruise ships coming in here. But now the numbers seem to be increasing. And how important is that?
Very important. Cruise tourism is very important. That's high end as well. So basically, if the stats are correct, I think from October to April this year itself, we are having 60 cruise ships coming into Sri Lanka. I think last week, Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth, I'm not sure about the names. Numbers, big numbers, like anything between 500, 1,500 plus another 500-600 staff coming into the country.
Right.
Sometimes they do a day, 2 day, a maximum maximum 3-day tours. They go to Pinnavala, they go to wildlife parks, some to go to shopping. Some people might even go for gambling because that's there in as well. So that's happening in a big way, but we need to expand that in a more bigger way. And then I just want to go back to the previous one as well, because when I said you'll come back for more is very important, because Sri Lanka is not a bucket list destination. Because Sri Lanka, when people come to Sri Lanka, they fall in now, and that is statistically proven. 33% of travelers to Sri Lanka are repeat travelers.
I see.
Yes, it is statistically.
Right.
I think I don't want to get involved in politics, but recently a wrong figure was given in a different platform saying repeat travelers are only 3%. I want to very clearly say it's not 3%, it's 33% repeat travelers, and we need to increase that. Recently, a German lady came for the 127th time. Another European gent came for the 100th time. Our campaign is based, for example, Arthur C. Clarke came for a small 1 month, but he stayed a full lifetime. You can go on and on. Rabindranath Tagore came twice to Sri Lanka. So it's a different place. We are not a bucket list destination. We are a nation that, we want to show them. If you taste it once, you want to come back more and more and more. You wait for the campaign, it'll very clearly show how we are going to position the country.
Now, one of the complaints that foreign tourists especially have about Sri Lanka is the transport system. It's simply not easy to get around the country. Our roads are still not up to standard, our highways are half built, our railway system is pretty much how it was 75 years ago. What needs to be done in these areas? Because it's a drawback, isn't it?
Yes, but I must say, we are very strongly looking at, again, initiative by our minister as well, domestic air travel. Now we are slowly starting, but we want to increase it much further. I can't reveal certain names. There are certain negotiations going on with certain airlines to start domestic air travel as well. And at the same time, yes, if you look at our railway system or the, highway system, roads are kind of now into a place, but then like you said, we can expand it much more. But then with the crisis, we need, but the thing is, our services can be improved in terms of transport. That's why I think there's an interministerial committee, because when it comes to, the problem is when it comes to tourism, everything falls under tourism, but technically it doesn't. But there are so many other stakeholders in this. Wildlife is separate, transport is different, aviation is different, cultural ministry is different. So, but all these... But
are you getting the level of cooperation from all those stakeholders? Or would you prefer to have a bit more?
I think we could do a bit more. That's why there's an interministerial committee formed, I think under the leadership, again, with the guidance of our minister as well, and the guidance of His Excellency the President as well. So to somehow collaborate and work together, and I think it's a positive start. We started that recently. Hope that we can solve these problems of logistics problems when it comes to the existing transport system. I just saw a news item again. Minister has managed to get a cabinet approval for 1,000 vehicles, because the tourism industry was suffering because they couldn't bring their vehicles. 1,000 vehicles to be brought this year to the country for tourism, only tourism. Right. Because it's a very important segment. Don't forget, Europeans, if the vehicle is 5-6 years old, they don't want to go in that vehicle. There are certain conditions as well. So that is happening as well.
So exciting times up ahead. And I'm afraid that's all the time we have with you right now. Our thanks to Chalaka Gajabahu, Chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism, and I hope that your plans keep going forward. Certainly the country needs it. So thank you very much for watching, and good night.